It's amazing, actually, isn't it? Like we are a society that's constantly on the go, but nature does things like that, and you just literally stop.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Slow down your podcast.
Slow down your podcast. Yeah, take the hint.
Yeah, it's a bit like nature is becoming. Remember the Cadbury's caramel bunny? Relax, slow down. That's what they're doing. Is that what she said?
Something like that.
She was very sort of. How old are you? Sorry,
39.
Yes, do you remember her? She was kind of like a sexy...
Yeah, sexy rabbit.
Yeah, that's how we used to sell chocolate to children. It's so mad, isn't it? We got to shift these bars. Yeah.
But you had that, and then Kit Kat were telling you to take a break.
Yeah.
So they were very advanced, very, very ahead of their times, I would say.
But very sexual as well, in a way that sort of like the meerkat isn't showing you any thigh.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He's just wearing his little coat. And he's telling you to get car insurance. But
Galaxy was also sexy.
What was the Galaxy one? I can't
Galaxy
remember.
was all about being smooth. Definitely loads of ladies' legs. Real people, though.
Yeah.
Real women.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What?
The Milk Tray Man.
The Milk Tray Man, yeah.
He was sort of creepy.
Turkish Delight was where they chopped it with that sword, and it was kind of like satin shimmering everywhere.
I miss adverts the way they used to be.
Yeah, dirty. Yeah, they were.
Pure
But
filth.
everything was like that. Like, was it the Gold Blend? There was like this whole will they, won't they?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Over coffee. That even as a kid, I remember thinking, like, do you know what I mean? It's getting close, isn't it, Mum? And Mum's, I reckon they're going to fuck next year. Like, sort of, it's like this weird. But that was like a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember the Milk Tray Man? He kind of just. What is the? I'm trying to think. Is there kind of?
The Milk Tray Man would break into the houses of women that he loved
and give them chocolate. Yeah.
Why don't I remember this advert?
Do you not remember that?
I blocked it out?
Yeah, we probably, like, young women probably warned about the Milk Tray Man, whereas young men were told, like, seriously, you want to be a good guy.
So he would break into people's houses and leave chocolates?
Yeah. It's sort of like, sort of a cacao Father Christmas in many ways.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? That was it.
Intentions are good, delivered badly.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the autobiography of the Milk Tray Man. At a heart of gold, but am I wrong?
I think nowadays the Milk Tray Man would be, he would get some sort of neurodiversity help.
Yes.
But back then he's just breaking it.
Well, it's a bit like, do you remember the Somerset Gimp? There was this guy that was sort of...
Yes, I do remember this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rebrand.
Yeah, but it was just some guy that he wasn't doing anything wrong per se. He was just dressing up as a gimp and walking around town, and he just kept appearing in the papers, and he was just unsettling people.
That's the thing. Like, what is the crime there? Like,
I
mean, I know it's uncomfortable, but what is?
Well, the mistake is he was wearing full on kind of like, if he'd have put a cycling hat on, he'd have been fine. Just because you can wear lycra and you can walk around like a pervert.
Was he totally covered?
Yeah, no, he was totally covered, but in like
latex kind of.
Yeah, sort of. So I think the face. So you'd sort of hear like that, and you think,
like
he's close.
Swamp.
Yeah, and nobody. It's a bit like the Stig. Nobody knew who he was, but you'd sort of just see these papers. He wasn't doing anything particularly bad. He was just freaking people out.
Okay.
By being a gimp. Wow. What's next? What's the next brilliant thing?
On this note, hugs.
Hugs.
I love hugs.
Well, we hugged earlier.
We did
and
hug
what I would say is you offered your hand.
I know, because I don't know how. I don't know if you're a hugger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big step to kind of go, but I love a hug.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's great. What do you love about hugging?
I love properly like putting my arms around and having a good old hug. Like a hug, it's not just like a loose pat on the back.
Yeah.
You've got to be held in the hug.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think I've got a real aversion to that.
Okay, so I'll just give you a pat on the back.
No. But I don't like being hugged. Freaks me out.
Does it?
Yeah. I don't know why. Just like, but it's like, I think if you hold me for too long, I'll start crying, and I don't think I'll ever stop.
Well, I guess
so it's just that thing of like, do you know what I mean?
It's always reading the room, though. You've got to know the person. I don't hug strangers.
Yeah.
But there is an amazing thing that I heard a couple of years ago where, in Disney, there's all the characters that people can go and meet. If you hug them, there's a rule in Disney that the character cannot be the one to break the hug first.
Wow.
And the reason for it is you don't know how much that person needs that hug.
Right.
Children only is the Disneyland.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I looked into this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It's children only.
Davina passed this on to me.
Grown-ups
Okay.
want that hug too much from that Disney character,
Yeah.
and they need a way out.
So what's the age limit on that then?
I think they've probably got a safe word, have they? Like Minnie
No, they
Mouse
can't
is like
talk.
enough. No, but she's probably like, all right, Brian.
But they have got secret words. They've got codes because they've got to stay in character.
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
need to be able to communicate when things in the park aren't going exactly to plan.
Yeah.
So if someone's being trouble, they
Oklahoma,
refer to them as a treasured guest. That's how you know someone's being trouble. And
Oh, I mean, now I'm going through the Rolodex at the time I've been called treasured. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause that sounds so nice. They called me treasured, Mum.
They really liked me.
they refer to vomit as a protein spill.
Okay.
And a lot of the time, Disneyland have a problem with people going there to spread ashes, which isn't allowed, but a lot of people want to do it. So they
Yes.
just do it anyway, and they refer to that as a white powder alert when they've got.
No. I
Surely
mean,
that's
that would
the
suggest
word.
something
Yeah,
different.
exactly.
Worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have all sorts of codes, but yeah, the children. It's only the children for the hugs.
But that's still fine, though, isn't it?
I can take that.
And if the kid won't let go, then you have to wait till it turns 18.
Okay.
Okay, then you're not allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
You must leave.
Who is your perfect person to hug? Who's your favourite person to hug? And the second question to that is, who is somebody you've not hugged but you'd like to
You
hug?
say non-family because families.
Yeah.
Okay. I love hugging my best mate Katie, and we can, especially so she lives in Southport now, so there's a distance between us. We met at drama school, so down in Sidcup, and then just as life takes you, off in like different places. So now when we're together, I feel like we're making up for all the hugs that we haven't had because we live
Yes.
so far apart.
Yes.
And it is that kind of, we envelop each other. We just really, really hug, and our husbands make jokes while we just keep hugging, and then eventually we can break apart.
And do you have a specific bit like, everyone sleeps on one side of the bed?
Oh, yeah.
Does your head go one way and hers the other? Are you that?
I've never broken it down. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's one up, one
But
arm up,
are you
one arm
getting your
down.
chin over her? Are you kind of into? Yeah.
Properly cuddling. Yeah, and she's also just one of those like great mates that it doesn't matter if you've not seen each other or spoken to each other for months. Everything just sort of clicks into place straight away. Not just in terms of the hug, but just in terms of general being.
What does she do? Does she act?
She did act, but she's now a teacher.
Oh,
And she
cool.
works in a school for alternative provisions. So she's doing amazing work.
What's alternative provisions?
Children that can't go to mainstream into a mainstream setting.
It's called. Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, that's the official.
Wow, that's proper work, eh?
Yeah. When she tells me the stories and what they're trying to achieve each day and what success looks like.
Yes.
When you have a child who really struggles in in what we would consider a school, what a school setting is.
It's really
amazing.
fascinating, isn't it? Those moments where you kind of like. I always remember that Educating Yorkshire clip of the young boy that had the stutter. Do you ever see that? And then
yeah.
the teacher that kind of taught him, basically from watching the King's Speech. If you play music, you can get through it, and it's a bit like when you watch those clips of deaf babies have the cochlear implants, and then they hear for the first time. You're like, oh god,
Yeah.
that's what the internet was made for.
Absolutely. And I just think, I think when it comes to the education system, I think so many kids are falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
And we're expecting. I read this amazing thing actually, and I did read this. I read an amazing book called Changing Our Minds by Dr. Naomi Fisher, which is looking at the school system and children's brains, and it basically talks about the fact that, so I can't remember the exact date, but the school system was set up in something like 1880, and if you think about how much society has changed from then to now,
Yeah.
it's hugely different in terms of technology, what we wear, how we speak to each other. Everything is different. But if you take a teacher from 1880 and put her into the classroom today, she'd know exactly what was being taught.
Yeah.
Like she'd know, oh, we're teaching algebra and this is this. How have we not adapted the way that we teach our children and, the way that we teach our children and what we are teaching our children in that time, because society has changed.
What's really fascinating, you're right. What's really fascinating as well, if you look at like the top two performing countries, I think educationally, are Finland and South Korea. And South Korea has a very rigid. This is get in, do
That's
this.
interesting.
These
Yeah,
are
yeah.
lessons. Brrr. Finland, the exact opposite. It's kind of like education through play. The common denominator between both of those things, the teachers are both very well paid and respected in society. And I think there is definitely that's a big flaw in Britain, that we have no respect for teachers, and yet everyone, broadly speaking, very easy to do jokes about, do you know what I mean, like primary school kids, what do you do, put them in the sandpit, but the impact that teachers have on all of us is profound.
With hindsight, do you